Back in late November, I sat down and planned out and wrote down all of the ideas that I had for accomplishing things that I wanted to in my business, all the launches, all the operations I had to do, all the collaborations, etc. So today on this episode, I am going to review with you what those plans actually were, how I did with them, how successful I was, which of the plans did not go through, and my lessons learned for those. So let's just get started. Welcome to Motivated Online Business Marketing, the podcast where we talk about using strategies to promote your business your way. I'm your host, Jessica Wangelin, wife, mom, website designer, lover of all things DIY projects and natural living. I'm that ambitious mom friend next door who will inspire you to grow business that you love. On this show, we talk about marketing, content creation, website strategy, and productivity so you can make great things happen in your business today. Let's go. Hello, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about all the things or things I did not get done in the first quarter of the year. So recording this is late April. This will probably get published in early May. However, you're probably wondering, or you might be wondering, what it's like to actually have time, full time, to run a business and what that productivity looks like. Because I know that those were certainly questions that I had. I used to work full-time years ago. It's actually been 10 years right now that I had a full-time position, and I've had my own business since 2018 on a very part-time basis. And so I did an episode recently on the podcast that talked about how to prioritize your business ideas, which basically was a way for us to kind of get a handle on all the ideas that we had for our business and map them out into some kind of calendar, like time structure, so that we would be able to identify what were the things that were top priority and how that would look like, what that would look like on like an ongoing basis in terms of running a business. So here's a little bit of behind the scenes of what I accomplished in the first quarter of the year based on what my plans were. Did I get those things done or not? And just give you an idea of how I planned what I did and what actually happened because of it. So you can perhaps get an idea of what you might be able to accomplish yourself. Now, I know if you're listening to this, either you might have your own business or you do that part-time with additionally like an additional position somewhere in some capacity. But if you have a different structure, I'd like to know. Come find me on Instagram and tell me what are the work hours that you have? Like how much time do you actually spend doing your business? Like what does that look like? I would love to get better insight, to be honest, on who is listening and what that looks like for you so that I can give you really good content about doing this and give you ideas that actually you can fit into your day and to your life, right? So the episode that I did, let me just check that really quickly. What number was it where we talked about how to organize your business priorities? That was episode two. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Number 44, tips to organize your business ideas. That's also a blog post on my site. When you get to look at the blog, you'll find it under the productivity section of the blog. But the idea behind how to organize your business ideas was a couple things. It was pretty straightforward. It was take the list of all the things that you wanted to get done for your business and categorize them in a way that made sense for you based on administrative tasks or launches, services you were going to offer, etc. And then map those to a calendar structure. So when you looked at your life or what was happening at that specific time, whether it be in the summer, the fall, vacation, first quarter, etc., how well could you map those ideas, which you had to do in that time frame, into a calendar structure? So that was the idea behind doing this. Now, in the first quarter, I had mapped out several things that I wanted to do for my business, and I want to talk about those today, about how I did, what I got done, what I did not get done. So in full disclosure, I do both website design services for my own clients and for other clients that I partner with at some different agencies to do website design services for. I also do blog post writing for several different organizations, etc., kind of thing, like online magazines, other small businesses, things like that, and my own business content as well. So I primarily do this podcast. I primarily do blog. I don't really focus much on Instagram or other content outlets. So that gives you an idea of time. And when you look at your time and you start to audit it, because I did this at some point and I realized how much or how little time I was actually spending on my business, because I was taking way too much advantage of the fact that I worked from home and that I had free time during the day and that I could go to the grocery store then when I wanted to. But what I realized is that it was taking away all of these hours from me being able to work on my business and to actually make an income doing that. So at the end of the year, late December 2023, I kind of sat down and gave myself like a tough love talk and was like, if you want this to succeed, you want to make more income doing this, this is what we have to do. We have to prioritize our time. We have to focus on the right things to do for our business. And we have to really get down to making things happen. So that's what prompted me to do the post about how to organize your business priorities, because I actually had gone through that process myself. So here's a couple of ideas of the things that I had planned out to do for my business. So January, month one, quarter one, I put together the idea to do my first real, like full out, actual, all the phases of a launch of a product. So I have several ideas for things that I would like to offer in terms of services and digital products. And one of them is a smaller-ish digital product called Create Your WordPress Website. I launched that in April of this month, and it took me all of January, February, and March, and most of April to actually go through the preparation for the launch for that. Creating all of the material that I needed for it, and actually working through the course that I walked through that taught me how to launch a course, which I will go over the launch details and like debrief and all that in a different episode. That was my number one priority for doing that for the first quarter. I also had it on my agenda, my ideas for what I was going to do in January, to do a workshop, some collaborations, and a couple of new like operations things for my business. So how did it go? I had an idea in January to do a workshop about reviewing annually your website. Like, what were the things you would do on a regular basis to keep your website up to date? Like, these were major things like revise your theme, change your theme, do new photography, etc., any of that. So that was my idea for that workshop. It did not happen at all. So that was one thing I did do, one thing I did not do. Also in January, offering VIP day services was on my services category for things that I was doing. So VIP days are just kind of ongoing. It's not something new that I do. It's something that I've offered for more than a year now. I do website design on WordPress. And so if you want to work with me to update your site, to revise it, add some pages, you absolutely can book a call to see if we're a right fit to work together. So the VIP day services is something that I've just had ongoing as a way for me to focus on doing that, to help me promote those services, to get those things out there. I did not really do very much in January in terms of the services that I was going to offer. Next up, setting up systems for collaborations in January. So collaborations is on my high priority list for getting things done in the month of January, first quarter and beyond, second quarter, just ongoing. I very much have to increase my visibility game. I very much have to do partnerships with other people because I don't feel like, and I know that people don't know who I am and what I do. And so more consistency with the podcast is high on the list for that. But doing collaborations with other people is also high on the list for that. So January, I set out to set up some organizational, like behind the scenes things for me to do to have a way to participate in those collaborations regularly. And I have an amazing resource that I absolutely would love to share in the future about how to organize your summits, your podcast speaking, your all of those kind of things. There's a really great Airtable spreadsheet that someone set up that you can get. And I'm sure I will share that in the show notes. So go look for that. So I set up systems to organize all my collaborations. So in the Airtable spreadsheet, it has a section for hosts, a section for all the other things, and you can keep track of dates, all your to-do lists. It's really amazing. So I did accomplish that in January. Very excited about that. And in addition, I applied for and got accepted to 3 collaborations, summit speaking opportunities that happened between like February and April, basically. So that's really exciting. So I actually did that. Check. That's 2 out of 4 we're going on January. So my plans. For January, I also had on a business reboot to do with my wellness company, my network marketing team. I did a lot of work for that. We got some of that accomplished. Not as much, not as robust in terms of activities that I wanted to do, but I did invite all of my business partners into that business reboot. And so that was successful to get them thinking more, just like taking more action with their business. So that was really fun. And then last in January on my to-do list was to create a new opt-in for my business. So that was under the operations category. And that was kind of like behind the scenes. This wasn't really something that was going to make like money, like straight up. It actually was an opt-in to lead to some other things. But that opt-in did get done too. So check. The opt-in is, and you can find it still today. It is still ongoing. It's under jessicawangelin.com/training. That is my 35-minute presentation that I put together based on the extensive market research that I had done about people and what they thought of their websites. So the training is how to create a dynamic website strategy, because I found that many people have sites that they just are letting sit there. They don't know how to update them. They don't know what to do with them. The tech part can be a little overwhelming. So I created a really brief training that walked through just reminding people about all of the great things that a website can do for your business, how to get excited about your website, what are some really quick ideas for getting started with content and blogging, and doing that. So the opt-in got published. It is on my site on the homepage. You can see that. You can find the link in the show notes. So that was my January in review. I did, 4 out of the 6 things that I had down. So interestingly enough, when you look at that and you kind of see and get an idea of how many work hours you have during the week to do things, and then how many work hours the project will entail, you absolutely can realize if you are fitting something in that will not fit. Like there just would never be enough time to do things. And so the idea behind me doing this was a way to simplify things and realize that I wasn't just creating to-do lists of things to do, that there was actually a strategy behind making these decisions. So in my business, like ecosystem overall, I do not have extensive digital product offerings to give to people. I have a couple of those, and I have my VIP Day website design services. And so from a business perspective, I need more revenue streams for people to actually spend money and for me to earn with that. And so that was the idea behind creating the WordPress course. Now that originally is, I know on the smaller scale, not necessarily much of my audience really needed that, because most people that I connect with, or perhaps you're listening, already have a website. And so you need more of the strategy and update part versus the getting it started part. But now that I have that product in my environment and in my offer suite, basically, I can use that, I can include it in funnels, and I can build off of it. And I do have plans, of course, to make a strategy course down the line. So let's go into February. So February also was working on the Create Your WordPress website launch that was ongoing. And I also had plans to do a workshop. So what ended up happening with the workshop was nothing. So the workshop that I was going to do in February was about how to be a content queen, which is a presentation I did at a conference. And I've kind of had it like sitting on my shelf, my library, for a long time. And I've been wanting to revive it and offer it to people because I had a lot of people ask about it. I did not get to put on that workshop. And I realized in not thinking that this was a fail, like that I didn't get to accomplish something, but this was even more so a lesson, like I said, in how to match what I was doing strategically with what I was asking my audience to do and what their experience was with me. So the Content Queen workshop didn't really match what I was doing at the time. I know that they will come into play later and I can offer it then, and they'll be super exciting to do. But really at this first quarter for me was all about the WordPress website setup situation and course launch. So that was that. I also thought that I was going to do in February, did not happen, was to offer another service of giving website audits. That did not happen. So I thought that it would be a good idea to think about offering somebody the chance for me to review their website, for me to look over what the branding was like, did it match, how was the messaging, what were some suggestions for edits, what are some new pages you can create, how to make your message match. If this sounds like something you would love, please message me and tell me, because I don't know if this is something that's actually even viable. But I thought it would be a really great chance, first of all, to have a conversation and meet people, to have a chance to look at your website and give you some feedback as someone who designs a lot of sites and works with different platforms and things like that. And also for you to then just get some feedback that you could implement on your own through the audit process and go ahead and do that. So again, if this sounds like something great, I would like to know. I don't know if it's a viable thing that would work really well. So that did not happen. I do also will keep that on the shelf for perhaps in the future to do. Second part I had in February was for my collaboration category was networking groups. This did happen. So I got to participate in a couple of networking sessions, both in January and February, which were a lot of fun. They just were through an online Facebook group that I'm involved with where everyone gets to go around and talk about what they do, and really fun, make an ask for what you would like people to kind of do or support in your business. So that's really neat. You can ask for a podcast review. You can ask for a freebie exchange, which are things that I had done in the networking group. So I met a bunch of people in there. And in turn, learned about a couple of summits and opportunities there. So that was really fun. So February networking collabs did happen. Excellent. I had also planned in February for my wellness business to do the Ningxia Red Reset. If you don't know about Young Living and Ningxia Red, it is an amazing antioxidant, basically energy all over vitamin drink that helps support your sleep, regulates all kind of great things in your body, helps your energy levels and such. And so we had a big launch of a new product with Ningxia where you drink 6 ounces of it a day for 2 weeks. I did the reset with my husband. We had a great time doing it, and I got a lot of people on my team. We got some new customers that came in because of it. So that was really successful in February doing the Ningxia reset. And I will share some information. If you are a former Young Living customer and you want more Ningxia, or if you want to know about this magical energy drink, for sure you can go and take a look at that. And then lastly, in February for my operations, I have down and still do, to revise my website and remove any of the branding information that I had talked about on my site that I offered in terms of services. So my operations behind the scenes was supposed to be about making sure that I just had website focus in general, that people didn't find anything that I was still offering branding services, because I am not anymore as of this time. So I did not get that done. That is still on my list, but it kind of has morphed into a SEO ramp up my website project as well, which I have now, again, still on the list. So here's a little bit of a lesson when I look back. And if you look back at these things for your own business and see how you're planning out the things that you want to have and realizing what actually happens when you don't get done the things that you wanted to get done. So number one, you can't overstuff like your plate or your calendar. It just is not something that's going to work. So you have to know your own capacity in terms of what that looks like, how much time you have, how much you're interested in doing these things, and what are they in terms of priority. So the idea here is not just to make a huge, big, long list of things that you want to do for your business, because that list can be really long. The idea here is to get an idea of how you operate and understand what the priority things are that are really, like they say, going to move the needle in your business. And I like that phrase is what it is. I don't love it, but you have to think about that. Like me with creating the course launch, I wanted to have that product in my offer suite for people to actually go through that and have that for them, because it is a huge need. I meet people all the time, and it's a service I do one-on-one for clients to set up their websites. Well, now you can do it all on your own, just as an FYI. So again, the process is to review and see what you're capable of doing in that time, and then decide what you do with the things that you did not get accomplished. And this was a very big lesson for me. So the Content Queen workshop sounds great. I wanted to do it. It's been on my list for a long time, but it does not match right now what I'm doing in terms of talking about specifically about website strategy and marketing in general. Content will come later. I love content. We will absolutely be talking about it. We are team long form content here on the podcast, just so you know. And that's that. So going into March, the last month of the first quarter, and what it looked like in terms. So March was heavy of my launch process. So to do my course, to create it, I took the Course Creator School by Gemma Bonham Carter, and I'll put some information on that in the show notes as well. And I walked through her entire process about setting up a course, launching your own course in general, and how to do all that. So that was really great. So in that time, I was writing sales emails, some social content, just walking through the course creating the sales pages and all of that, like behind the scenes stuff going with it. So that is primarily like just what I put for the focus for that time, because it was, we launched on April 9th for that. So I had to get it all done. So that webinar for the month, like workshop-ish, was one that went along with the course. So I had to write the webinar. I had to do there was like 80 some slides on the webinar, and put that together. So that happened in March, of course. I also had for March services, which I knew wasn't going to happen. I should not have even put it on the list, but I did make this first quarter plan at the end of December. So I didn't know how much time each of these things was going to take me and if I was going to be actually able to offer these. But sometimes it comes down to, if you're offering all these different things, you don't want your audience to get confused, right? So that's kind of why my services of website audits, which I had in March and February, did not happen, because I didn't want people to be confused about that I was doing that and that I was launching the course, etc. Collabs in March, also summits. So I got to do some of the recordings for those summits and the promotions for those. So that did happen. That was exciting. We had down for my wellness business in March to do a clean home challenge. That did not happen at all. And I'm very sad about that, because I'm with a wellness company, like I mentioned, Young Living Essential Oils, and I've been with them since fall of 2015. And I absolutely, to my core, believe that people need to get the chemicals out of their life, and that there are a lot of really great options that you can have for supporting your energy, your sleep, your family, your wellness, all of that with the products that I use myself. And the Clean Home Challenge was about people getting toxic cleaners out of their homes, replacing it with a Thieves Household Cleaner, which is an amazing all-in-one concentrate that is like under $30 a bottle that lasts you for several years. And we did not do this. I just did not have time for it. And so sometimes it just comes down to you just don't have time for it. And people always will equate that often with it's not a priority for you. I disagree with that to a little bit extent. There are absolutely seasons in your life when you literally do not have time to do the things that you want to do, even if they are a priority. So the Clean Home Challenge did not happen. And then lastly, for operations for March, the site revamp also did not happen. That because we were just full on in course launch mode and all the things that went with it. So that was the March plan. So that's a little bit of the review of the things I did and did not do. So when I look at overall the 18 tasks, different components that I had, projects to do basically for my businesses in the first quarter of the year, I would say there's about a 60% success rate of things that actually happened versus things that I had scheduled and planned that did not happen. So what does this look like going forward? It's interesting, of course, to be a data-driven CEO, and you take a look at these things and realize how you can improve them in the future. So here, I don't yet 100% know, as of right now, how this will be revised going into the future. Because when I did this in December, I only planned through April, actually. And that was simply because I did a quarter at a time. And then the April carryover was because of the course launch and all the things that had to go along with that. I'm 100% going to simplify this list as much as I can. I probably will not be offering a workshop situation in the future. I don't know that. I'm hesitant to remove that. The services thing will stay the same. So I don't think I'm going to be offering different services per se, aside from the VIP days. Again, if you want a website audit, please tell me. Maybe that's something that people really like and I can do that. But we're going to simplify the services area. We're going to simplify the workshop part. Again, the idea of me offering a workshop every month was to have an interactive feature for our community of people to come together and we can actually talk live. Because a lot of times as a business owner, you put these products out there and like there's no interaction. You just like people buy your thing and then like you don't ever talk to them. So the idea for the workshop was so that I could actually present live, I could answer questions, I could meet people, we could talk to each other. So I'm hesitant to take that out. I'm going to see how it might work into things going forward. I do have a lot of ideas for things I would like to launch going forward, including website templates, including a website strategy course, and a bunch of other goodies. So stay tuned for that for sure. But that is my revamp of what it's like to plan out your quarter in advance and review all the things that you either got accomplished or not. So my main lessons here are: number one, make sure you are simplifying this. There's a real strategy behind planning what you need to do for your business and actually just carrying out versus just carrying out a list. Number two, did I just say this? Simplify. I'm going to look at this and kind of think about more of what this looks like going forward, because as of right now, I have to create my course now that I pre-sold it and launched it, and think about what that evergreen funnel looks like for the course. I will still keep doing collaborations. I still offer VIP day services. And of course, my wellness business is ongoing, and operations is just like a must-have. So those are my categories of all the things that I had launched. Big lessons, keep it strategic, keep it simple, and give you an idea of what it looks like behind the scenes. If you get to do this, I would love to know, what are the things that you have planned out for your launches, your workshops, your services, your operations? Please, when you get to watch this or listen to the episode or watch it on YouTube, we do have a feed of the podcast on the YouTube channel. You can find me there and subscribe. Take a screenshot and tell me what you think about. Was this a lot to do? Would you like to plan out your quarter? How it was successful for you? And don't forget, you can go ahead to the blog and find that post about how to prioritize your business ideas at any time. And of course, we will see you on the next show. Thanks so much for listening. So I can help create more shows that help you. I'd love it if you would left a rating and review of the show. And when you get a chance, hop over to my website, jessicawangelin.com, to read the blog and see all the things we have happening to help your business today. See you next time.